Hello and welcome to another episode of the Classical Republican Book Review. Today we are looking at Philip Pettit's Just Freedom. Came out in 2014. It's about 220 pages long. The subtitle is A Moral Compass for a Complex World. Philip Pettit is one of our favorite authors here at the Classical Republican. He says several times that this is not a manifesto. The book defines freedom as non-domination, of course. It's divided into two parts. Part one is the theory of freedom and goes into the required depth and breadth. Part two is on the institutions of freedom and requirements of justice, democracy, and sovereignty. Pettit brings back and develops new tests of non-domination. So we have the eyeball test, the tough luck test, and the straight talk test. So we've seen the eyeball test and tough talk test tough luck test in previous books. But just to remind you, the eyeball test is that you can look at somebody in the eye and not have to bow your head to them or anything like that, because you are all equal and not dominating one another. The tough luck test has to do with process, and things may go, decisions may be made that you are not in favor of. However, it went through the proper process, and you're just kind of in the minority, and it's not. Maybe it's not taking away your rights, but it is just something that you were against, and so you're going to, but there was proper process that was fair. And then the straight talk test, so where you're able to negotiate, and this has to do more with the international affairs, chapter 6 of the book, and the straight talk test is where nations can come and talk to each other as equals on equal footing, or at least being treated as equals, rather than one dominating the other, which happens a lot. Now, I like how he refutes classical liberal ideas of freedom, but also gives credit to modern liberal regimes that have progressed the practice of freedom in recent history. However, we must go further with advancing Republican freedom. Yes. In part two, he gives recommendations for policy proposals, and that's really good. Chapter 6, which is the last chapter, is all about foreign policy. Like Giuseppe Mazzini, he leans a little towards liberal theory, but recognizes, like the realists, that nation states must have their sovereignty. As it is with the individual, so is it with the nation. There must be non-domination and mixed regimes and contestatory democracy among international players too. All of Pettit's books are well organized, but this one seemed to flow really well, and it seemed to be an easier read than his previous books. If you only have time to read one book by Pettit, I would recommend this one. So, until next time, long live the Republic.